Dane, how you been, man? How's your day?
Good, good. I've been antsy all day about this when it's finally here. The day's finally here.
What's
Something
the
a long time in the making.
bucket list, right? When I go back to
Absolutely.
thinking about the show while we did this, we had some heroes, man, on our list, right? We had, of course, people like Amanda Scarborough, Coach Kenny, Coach Lonnie from Florida State, and this lady,
Yeah,
man, I'm telling you, that helped make the sport what it is. And that's why my girls
absolutely.
play. That's why your girls play.
Yeah,
That's why we're inspired to do what we do when it comes to actually listening, commentating, talking about softball.
yeah,
In my opinion, even though we're Sooners diehard, this is one Texas Longhorn that I have no problem rooting for
yeah,
publicly.
absolutely.
Die hard, one of the greatest softball minds I've ever seen. Just knows more about the sport than we'll ever remember, and can still play, running AUSL, basically leading a new chapter of like women's athletics, as we've always said it should be.
Yeah,
The reason we do what we do is because we feel like female sports should get the same respect and love as men's sports. So,
absolutely.
no other introduction needed. The literal legend in the making, still going strong. One only Cat Osterman. Coach, how you doing, my friend?
Doing good, finding 30 minutes here in between everything for you guys. But
Oh my
no,
goodness.
doing
Thank you.
doing good. Summer wound down and kind of in that break. I'm sure you guys are right before fall travel bus heats up.
Absolutely.
100% same
Yeah.
coach. So I know you're busy as always, coach, so we'll respect your time. Thank you again for this. Gonna jump right into the question set. When I think about your playing days, obviously what you're doing now with the USL, making the sport grow, just this behemoth that you've created. I'm curious though, where the love of the game began for you. Maybe you go back even before the Texas days, maybe high school days. The love of softball for you. Maybe when did it begin for you? When did you start playing softball in your life,
Yeah, so funny enough, I started playing in like first grade. But our little league had just broken off with another league, so we were rather small. And so first through fifth graders were all on the same team, and fifth graders could pitch. And so as a first grader, like not fun. Someone 4 years older pitching at you, I was over it. Um, Obviously being left-handed, there's only like two places for you, first base or outfield. So I was picking flowers in the outfield while fifth graders were striking people out. And I was like, after a while, looked at my parents and were like, this is dumb. So I actually quit and played soccer and was a goalie, played competitive soccer. Did that, was actually really good at goalie, but like most things, it didn't keep my interest. It bored me. And so after about 4.5 years, went to my dad and said, I don't think I want to be a goalie. And, my parents were like, you're really good at it. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't like it. Like, it's boring. um, and, when you're on a good team in soccer, the ball should be on
Yeah.
the other side of
Yeah.
the field. So there's not a lot to do. And my dad said, well, why don't we try softball again? And in the winters, I always played basketball. I'm the shortest of three kids. So like height is big in our family. Basketball was always big in our family. So I had always played that, but my parents always made sure I was doing something in every season. So that's when dad was like, well, let's try softball because it fit in where soccer was going to, be left out. And I tried it. I did Little League again. And obviously with their pitching rules, pitchers can only throw so many innings. And I think we had a rain out in the week. And so we had an extra game somewhere that pitchers' innings were up. And our coach was like, who wants to try pitching? And I was like, shoot, I will. And so I jumped in the circle. I had never taken a lesson, nothing. And I got in there and I struck out one of my first three hitters. And I just thought that was destiny. It's like what I'm supposed to do. And that was when I was like 10 and a half. So I came off telling my dad I wanted to pitch and could I have pitching lessons for my 11th birthday because there was a guy who did lessons at the fields where we practiced and I saw it. And so I begged and begged. I did get pitching lessons. It didn't have to be my birthday present, but I did get the pitching lessons.
Love it.
And so I honestly, through the process of pitching, I fell in love with pitching more than I did the sport of softball. And then as I pitched, I obviously learned to love the entire game because I knew I wanted to coach. But I laughed because my dad let me have pitching lessons. And, it was with the rule of thumb that I wasn't going to get my lesson on Sundays if I didn't practice during the week. But somehow I still got my hitting lessons, even though I didn't practice hitting during the week. Like I was never in love with the whole concept. I really was in love with pitching. And so I fell in love with pitching and just kind of the elusive chase of perfection, knowing
Yeah.
it's not attainable, but wanting to get as close as I could to having, perfect spin and great
Yeah.
placement and all those things. And so the pitching piece really just roped me in because you can't be perfect at it. You can never fully master all of it. And I think I loved that was, I know I'm never going to do it all correct, but how close can we get, and how much can I
Right.
continue to work at getting as good as I can get?
Well, if anybody's
Wow.
ever got close to it, we definitely know that you
Yeah,
got
yeah,
close, for real, and the world's better because of it. The sport's better
yeah.
because of it.
Absolutely.
So thank you for that.
Thank
Go ahead,
you.
Dan.
Now, from those early days of starting softball, quitting, and then coming back to the game, from that point on, you've done travel ball, high school, college, pro, on the world stage. Is there an event or two, or maybe a game or two that stick out in the forefront of your mind that, you can always come back to if you need that pick me up that you can kind of tell us about?
Yeah, so there's a few, there's one or two on every level. High school's kind of, I don't want to say a blur. My high school wasn't great, and there weren't a lot of other girls that played real competitive travel ball on my team.
Uh-huh.
So, my dad did a really good job of kind of phrasing that of like just go have fun, go pitch,
Right.
go be competitive, but like don't get overly bent out of shape over it. Um, but travel ball, we got to play the 2000 national team when they were on their
Yeah.
Sydney Park to Central tour, um, or Central Park to Sydney tour. And I pitched 5 innings and gave up 1 hit and struck out 11 as
Wow.
a 17-year-old. So that was pretty cool. That was like my big kind of defining moment prior to college. College, there's a lot of them. Going to the World Series for the first time, playing at the World Series for the first time. I also vividly remember my last game at the World Series, even though that didn't end in a victory. And then I think the biggest one for me outside of college was in 2008. We went to the World Championships in China,
Yeah.
and actually it was in 2006, excuse me, because it was qualifying for the Olympic Games. And we had a pitching staff of like 5 or 6, and we had lost the day before, so we were gonna have to win 2 games to win Worlds and qualify for the Olympics. And Coach Kendria called me in the morning and said, "Hey, I need 14 innings out of you today." And I was like, "Excuse me, what?" Like, he
No
goes,
problem.
"Yeah." He goes, "I need you. We're gonna beat Australia, and then I need you ready to go against Japan again." And I was just like, "Oh, okay." And I was used to throwing against Japan because I typically did, because I had a lot of lefties. It was just going Australia and then Japan in the same day within with a 20-30 minute break in there. But I did it and I threw really well. And that was probably, in my opinion, even though I'd already been on the '04 staff, that was to me my like proving moment of
Hmm.
okay, you're going to be able to do this for a long time now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. What a just a, I mean, you talk about just saying that, like in the concept of that travel ball, Australia, Japan, one breath, and it's so cool. Like you set such a expectation for the sport that these things are just normal, like these high achieving things. It's crazy how much you've done and how it's just normal. Like you make great things seem normal. Like, okay, I went to Texas this weekend. You're talking about playing in Japan. Like, okay, that's cool, no big deal. Japan, Australia. Yeah, I'll spend some time over here in Tokyo. No big deal. Like it's just cool. Like the way you say it, it's fascinating. The influence, I will say this, coach, you've got this huge influence about you. Whenever people say the sport, they say you, they say
Yeah,
Jenny Finch, of course, they say Amanda Scarborough, they say Gasso. Like you're in that Mount Rushmore. Like people say
yeah,
your name all the time. That's not it is. But I'm curious now that you've made this phenomenon, AUSL, this movement, part of history where women's sports is getting that respect it deserves. We've said this the last couple of years, there's been more people watch women's softball than a number of actual like male dominated sports. It's so cool to see that growth, the influence that you've caused. So I say
yeah.
that big speech to say this. Who like still maybe to this day, now that you've modified and things are changing, who's your influences now, maybe back in the early days? Who influences you back then and now?
Hmm.
Yeah, well, I think it's a complete 180. I mean, obviously, growing up, my dad was a huge influence. He
Hmm.
spent every night on the bucket with me, lessons, all of it. He's an engineer, so he kind of was very meticulous in how we practiced, how I worked to be able to develop. And I just got to witness his work ethic as an engineer because we lived close to home, so I got to see when he put in extra hours or how he would be flexible to come home and work with me and then go back to work to be able to do
Hmm.
things. And so he was a great influence. I looked up to Michelle Smith. She was kind of the big
Mm.
lefty in the sport of softball. Again, it was nowhere near on TV, or social media wasn't existent and all that. So you kind of had to search for it. But
Yeah.
we searched for a clinic she was at. I went, I met her. Being the naive little kid, I ran into her like a couple months later, assuming she'd remember me. She claims she did. I don't know if she really did or not, but so then I just kept seeing her, and eventually, yes, she did. She would, talk to me by name, talk about what we had talked about the last time, and so, um, I was greatly influenced by her, and honestly, her retirement from USA softball is probably what opened the door for me to get on that '04 team. So I always am indebted to her for that move. But as time's gone on, you look and what you're doing, and when you're playing pro ball, now you're kind of motivated by yourself to continue to be at the top of your game and one of the best in the game. But when it comes to transitioning off the field, now the influence is how great can we make this sport for those that are up and coming.
Yeah.
There was the WPSL when I was in junior high and high school, but again, you had to go search for it. It was pretty much East Coast in Florida. I saw teams simply because my grandparents lived in Florida, and so my dad took me to go see the teams play when we visited my grandparents. But if we hadn't done that, or my grandparents lived somewhere else, I would never have known of pro softball, right? And now everyone knows, but like, how great can we make it that
Right.
your daughters or the girls you guys are coaching, they can grow up and say, hey, I want to be a pro softball player. And you're not having to say, well, yeah, you can, but you know what? You're also going to have to do this, this, and this.
Right.
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 Yes, we're still at the stage where our athletes have to do some to be able to make ends meet, like for year round. But by the time the youngsters are up there, like, we're hoping that's the reality is they can be just pro softball players.
Yeah.
And they don't have to do other things. And that doesn't mean, they don't get a degree to go do something once they're done playing. But like, the reality of growing up to be a professional athlete, while it's been, no one scoffs at it when a boy goes to, career day and says he wants to be an MLB player. But if a girl goes and is like, oh, I want to be a softball player, they're like, oh yeah, no, that doesn't exist. Yeah, it does. And so now, how great can we make it for them as we continue to move the sport forward?
It's like I can't wait till, like you said, like sitting around for draft day, and it's cool because we see this now. It's happening. Like my girls are like, yeah, draft day. They watch the WNBA draft. Like they're just glued to it, right? And now we get to have those discussions where it's like, oh, they're watching people get selected for the Talons team, Blaze team. It's happening real time. We're watching it happen.
Yeah.
You're part of history. You're part of this movement. It's finally here. It's not the future. It's here. All the blood, sweat, and tears. Right, Dane? She's part of it. Is here, right?
Yeah. And you guys keep building, and it's went from something where a few people go to now it's filled full stadiums. You kind of have to search out a place big enough for you guys to go. And that kind of brings me to my next question. To round off this, we're in the down portion of this year. I mean, summer's coming to an end, hopefully. And what do you see yourself doing to, keep the sport moving forward and keep yourself busy but not get too overwhelmed with the rest of 2025?
Well, I always have my hand in something softball related. I've known I wanted to coach for a really long time, and I coached the college game for 12 years. Ended up when I unretired to play for 2020, COVID pushing it back a year made me have to decide like what I really wanted to do. Cause not too many places will give you 2 years of paid leave. So I stepped down instead because I knew my husband and I were going to try to have a child once I was done playing. And so I was like, well, at some point I'm probably going to step down anyway. So let me just go ahead and make the move because I knew I could find something to do within the sport. And AUSL has provided that. I also, because I do love to coach, it is my passion. I do coach travel ball. So I wrapped up our alliance season with the Bombers this year in Indiana about a month ago, or well, I guess 3 weeks ago. And so right now, just trying to kind of regroup. We look at the AUSL season. We are expanding to 6 teams, so there's going to be an expansion draft. I'm trying to figure out as we as GMs come together to figure out what expansion draft looks like, then at the same time, we obviously have to look like who are we going to protect on our roster? Who can we afford to maybe let go or chance not having back? There's a lot that's going into that. And so just, conversations on already like looking forward to what next year could look like.
Already, man.
And trying to, I mean, you have to predict too. It's a blessing. This senior class coming out is going to be jam-packed with talent. You're talking about the Carlin Pickens, Nigel Kennedy, Reese Atwood, Sydney Berzon, Jordy Ball. There's probably plenty of other names that I'm missing,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
this,
Yeah.
I think Megan Grant and Wolverine are both seniors at UCLA. Like there are names coming out this year that's the college draft and the expansion draft both are going to be so exciting. And so,
Wow.
for us, it's trying to figure out, okay, what direction do we want to go, especially when you already have talented athletes in the league. But
It's a good problem. It's a good problem to have, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a couple weeks to kind of, get all that in order, and then travel ball will pick up for the fall, and I'll work.
No pressure, right?
Yeah. But I don't mind it. I
don't.
don't mind being busy and getting my hands in all things.
I love
So
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
definitely got plenty of, just when we thought that, the 6 different teams you're coaching and all that, you add something else to your plate, just a little travel here and there. Maybe you'll fit in vacation or something too, man. But I'll tell you what, coach, there's a segment I guarantee in all the media days you've done. I promise you this next segment, you've never had anything like this. We're over 300 episodes deep and we're known for this worldwide. Our segment is called Rapid Fire. This segment is 5 questions. I'll explain this a little bit. There's no wrong answer. You go with what you feel is right. Me and Dane have already bet on what we think you're going to say. We have the questions. We're kind of betting on you. No pressure, but the winner gets lunch provided by the loser. So in this segment, imagine that reality doesn't exist. You can go back in time in the future. It's more just a personality test about you. We're going to see who's closer and picking the right answers based off what we think you're going to say. No wrong answer. Just go with what you feel. You pick the right answer that you feel is right. Okay, ready? Dane, you ready? You got your picks?
Yeah, I got it.
So in all the things softball coach, they're adding another thing that you are asked to host. They're going to be doing a kind of a reality TV show called America's Next Strikeout. And what they're going to be doing is they're kind of expanding this softball world, kind of like a lot of sports do it. Pretty much it's going to be a softball reality TV show. And you get to choose your co-host, totally not anywhere near in the field of what you're used to. They're not in this world, but you get to have this co-host. You and this other person, you can choose Steve Carell or Channing Tatum to be your co-host in this reality softball TV show as your co-host. Carell, Tatum, which way you going?
Oh, well, the viewers want Tatum, but I need Carell because he's so funny that I need him to he needs to make jokes for my seriousness. So I'm going to go with Steve.
I had Steve. I did. Dane, how about you? Would you have
Yeah, absolutely. Steve Carell, absolutely.
I love it. Let's go. So 1 for 1.
There's always room for humor.
Yeah, I love it. So on the next, when that comes out, I'm just saying, I'll take full credit for it. So they're going to make a 2030 movie, the Cat Osterman movie. It's going to be in theaters. It's going to be great. It's going to be called The Rise to Power. Got this really cool name for it. And you get to pick one of these 2 awesome ladies to play you in the Cat Osterman biopic. This question gets asked a lot. You can either have Kate Beckinsale or Angelina Jolie play Cat Osterman in the movie. Kate, Angelina, which way you going?
Oh, that's easy. I'm going to pick Angelina's.
I had Kate. I really did. And I had Kate. How about you, Dane, on that one?
Oh, yeah. Angelina Jolie, action star. Oh, yeah,
well, because I'm thinking the underworld and I don't know. I had this this air about you because you got this kind of get it done thing, Kat, where you're kind of like, I could see you probably doing some karate or something. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I got that one wrong. Dang it, you got me wrong.
Glad you didn't throw Sandra Bullock in there with Angelina Jolie because I would not have been able to pick between those 2.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Dane, you got me 1. Let's see if we can keep this going. Okay. So next year, AUSL championship game. One of these, in the spirit of celebrating female athletes, female leadership, female musicianship, all of that. These 2 female-driven powerhouse bands approach you and say, "Hey, we want to play the show, the opening of Championship Sunday for you." You can have No Doubt in all of its glory, or Paramore in all of its glory play for you in the championship game of next year's AUSL. No Doubt, Paramore. Which way are you going?
Ooh, I'm gonna go No Doubt.
Let's go. I had that one, Dan. I had that one. How about you?
No, I had Paramore.
Let's
Flip the coin on that one.
Tied, Dane. We're tied right now. Okay, so I just kind of just had this presence about it. I don't need to go into that one. I know why. So 2 more. You're gonna do a team builder with the AUSL squad, and they tell you last minute your team building exercise. You got to take one of your 2 teams. You got to choose either the Talons or the Bandits. We've narrowed it down. And your team building exercise, you have to all go skydiving together. And it basically just kind of skydiving together. Got to get out there and do your thing. If you're choosing to go skydiving, love all your teammates. I get all that. They're great. Are you taking the roster of the Talons or the Bandits? Or it's going to be the Talons or the Blaze to go skydiving together. Which team would you feel more comfortable taking with you on the skydiving adventure?
Ooh, that's a good one. So it's between the Talons and the Blaze.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I stumped her, Dane.
Tough one. Yeah, it's a tough one, man.
It is tough. I really liked watching the Blaze play. Loved watching all of them play this summer.
Right. They're all great.
But the Blaze, they I think they may have had the youngest roster, and they were all like fun loving. I think you don't even have to count to 3. They're all just jumping out of the plane. So
Got you. So going Blaze?
I'm gonna take the Blaze
Let's
because
go.
if I have any doubts, there won't be a second to even doubt because I'm gonna have to follow.
I love it. Dane, who'd you have? Blaze or Talons?
I had the Talons on that one.
Let's go. I'm up on you by 1, Dane. Let's see if you can come back. So last one. Celebrities, athletes, coaches, they make a lot of movie cameos these days. And you're asked to be in a cameo in one of these 2 upcoming movies. Very, very different types of movies, Coach. So I'm going to see how you go on this one. You're asked to make a cameo in Happy Gilmore 3. 2 just came out, but they're making a 3rd one. So you can make a cameo in Happy Gilmore 3, or you can make a cameo in the next Star Wars movie. Gilmore, Star Wars, which way you going?
Oh. You got me here because my family loves Star Wars and my husband golfs. So it's like,
Okay.
and dad golfs. So it's like no brainer. My brother's going to kill me for not choosing Star Wars, but I think I'm going to go Happy Gilmore 3.
I had Happy Gilmore, I really did. Dane, how about you on that one?
I had Star Wars simply because the lightsabers.
Yeah, I
Figured
can see
right
that.
up your alley.
I can see that.
No, they
Dang it.
are, but I think I would really enjoy just, let me just Happy Gilmore golf ball. I can't do it the normal way.
Coaching, I get it. Maybe a coaching segment. Well, thanks, Coach. That's a little segment. Hopefully something different than what you've had.
Yeah, that was fun.
So rapid fire. I'll give it back to Dane for the last question for you. So.
On this last segment, Coach, we call it open mic. We open the floor to our guests to maybe talk to some of those young athletes, whatever sport they're pursuing, maybe some artists or any youngster that's kind of chasing their dream. Is there maybe a mantra or a philosophy that you've carried with you throughout your career that kind of helped you get through some of those tougher stages that maybe you can pass on to our younger viewers?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is find whatever it is you truly love, and that changes over time too.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned to you guys I played soccer. I was good at it. I liked it for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball was really my first one true love, and then I realized I was going to be better at softball, and eventually I loved pitching as much as I loved basketball, so it was an easy transition. But when, as a youngster, you realize you love something, when working at it doesn't feel like work. I mean, it sounds cliche, but it's the truth. Like, you want to go put in the work. You're not being told all the time, like, hey, you need to practice this or you need to go to this. And so I think for the youngsters is find whatever it is that, makes you get giddy. It makes you get excited to go do it. If it's art, it's art. If it's singing, it's singing. If it's the piano, I wish I had liked something musical because I have the fingers for the piano, but me and music just do not vibe.
Right.
I can't keep a tune or rhythm to save my life. So, I think you find what you're passionate about and chase that. I tell my kids all the time when I'm coaching is if you don't go all in all the time, you'll never know what you're capable of. So if you're sitting there holding back because you're afraid to fail or you're afraid you might not be good or whatever, like, you're never going to truly find your potential. And so being able to go all in with what you love and see where it takes you, because it will take you somewhere. Like, I didn't know that I would have played professionally until I was, like 33 or 34 at the first time, but then unretired and played again at 38. Like, you told me that, I would have told you were kidding. But even if it hadn't taken me that far, it would have, taken me through college, maybe a couple years out of college. Someone recently commented on the podcast I do about pitching and was like, well, Sue Enquist says play softball as long as you can. And that's BS because, you need to prepare for life. Well, softball can be a vehicle.
Is your life.
Yeah, but it can prepare you for life, but it can be a vehicle to do a lot of things. It can be a vehicle to get you to college. It can be a vehicle to get you a master's if you GA for 2 years, even if you don't really want to coach, but you can go get a master's in communication or whatever it is you do want to do. And then obviously it's a vehicle to just be able to network and learn and all sorts of things. And so, I think the biggest thing, and, my dad he would have loved for me to graduate with a degree in accounting or finance or something more feasible, and obviously with like a set a set job and hopefully more dollar signs behind it, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to coach. I wanted to, even before I was playing softball, I just knew I wanted to coach. And so find what you're passionate about and go for it. Because you won't fall short. If you truly love it, you just won't fall short.
I love it.
And so I think that's the big thing.
It's just
Awesome.
Just listen. It's like when they say sitting around listening to someone. I could listen to you talk for hours, Coach. I watch your comment. I listen. Great podcast, by the way. By far my favorite podcast. Probably even better than me and Dane's. I like it that much. You great content, great commentary. You do a good job. So just thank you for making the sport a reality. Like you said, no longer does it have to be a backup plan. Now it's an actual game plan. What you have made happen. Even though you're a Texas Longhorn, we proudly celebrate you. We're OU fans. You're that Longhorn that will never be ashamed to celebrate. You have made it possible for women across the world to do what they love, just like men do. And that's why we started the show, because of you. So thank you. I know you're a busy lady. I would say, if we can, make sure this is the first of many times. Again, we'll be rooting for you as the season progresses and AUSL and just all the things continue to grow. You always have a home here. We're fans. So thank you for everything, Coach. Good luck on your couple of off days and your seasons in between, and much love. Let's stay in touch, and just thanks for all you do. Okay. So
thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Take care, Coach. Much love. Thank you.
Bye.
So I'm telling you, man, she's something else, like one of a kind. Wow. What do you say? Just wow, right? It's awesome.
Yeah. Like I say, a pioneer of the sport.
Pioneer.
She started it when it just kind of, it seemed like it was at its infancy, and it just, with personalities and athletes like her, it just exploded to what it is now. And it still feels like it's on the front end of it. They have so much more that they can build. So
just a pioneer.
It's always great to talk to somebody that has that perspective, and it was just right in at the early days of it. And
wow,
like I say, one of the reasons my daughter's a pitcher as well is because of her.
Yeah. Well, so many girls. So you ask people, they mention her name. They mentioned Jordy. They mentioned Montana Fouts. Of course, Jenny Finch. Right. They mention her. And that's like, to be a part of seeing what she does. And it's neat, because I would have thought, I don't know, when you're seeing someone like that who's a legend in the process, a legend in the process, she's not satisfied yet. You didn't get this sense of like, I've arrived. It's kind of been a theme lately with all of our guests. It's like, still hungry, still chasing. Let's see how far we can take this. It's almost like, let's push a little bit farther. Let's keep going. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
wow. It's
Wow.
a great message for all those out there that are chasing their dreams. She's still doing it, even though she's retired. She's still very much into the sport and helping it grow. So the work never ends.
Wow, Cat Osterman definitely did not disappoint, for sure. So, what a wonderful season, as we said before. New same show, new stories, and we're just getting started in the shows, and the message is getting bigger and bigger. We got a whole crazy season for you guys. You're not gonna believe some of the stuff we got coming up. So, just a taste of season 5, and that's what a great way to start this thing off. So, on behalf of Dane and Josh and all you listeners out there, don't forget, as always, that we love you. And Dane,
thank you for listening.